Hi, this is Roberto Casada, and I'm here with Walter at the screening of Phantasm, remastered at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville. And I just wanted to let Walter know that I'm a big fan of iWalter.
Than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Yes, hey, it is Walter. Sorry, I just screamed into my mic, so I apologize about that, folks. Yeah, I haven't done a show. I would say it has to be at least, I'll have to say at least 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. Right now, by the way, in the background, I have Godzilla, the Godzilla Marathon going on El Rey. I think it's El Rey. I'm not sure how you say it. Actually, it's a really good station. I got wind of it, I think, the other week, and I just continue to watch it. It is actually the day after Christmas, folks. Yeah, the 26th. Now, I might have a guest come in tonight, I hope. I don't know yet, but I might, because my shows run really long, and it's like 7:19. I might be done, but who knows? I might be actually still going. And as a just-in-case thing, I let him know I set up a mic for him as well. Now, this New Year's Eve, since I did nothing except for the last week, due to not working, I was on vacation for the past week, did nothing. I end up sleeping the whole entire time. Yeah, I've been majorly depressed. Speaking about depression, did you hear them? I'm sure everybody heard it by now, or whoever, that one person listens to my podcast, that I heard he had a heart attack, I think, but was, God, I put that in my list of stories. George Michaels had passed away. Very shocking news, actually. Didn't expect that to happen. Singer-songwriter George Michael dies at age 53. I am going to be pushing 50, and that's kind of scary. The man dies. George Michaels had died from a heart failure, according to the singer's longtime manager. Looks like Michael Lipman. So, yeah, that's pretty weird. I mean, I was just kind of shocked, quite honestly, to hear about that. I was trying to convince my parents. I had bought both my parents' iPhone 5S's, and my dad also an iWatch, and he heard about the cost, which I got the lowest one I could get him, lowest cost in service, which would be about $60 for two phones, which is not bad, and 8 gigs of data in the plan with unlimited, no contract. It's actually from Walmart, and he said, no, I'm not interested, because he has to pay a certain amount of money. And it's like, yeah, I know, I understand you're retired and stuff, but it's something that you would probably enjoy. But obviously he doesn't want to pay that kind of cash. He doesn't want to pay anything if he could get away with it, which is kind of a little ridiculous. I can understand you got to be, a little bit frugal when you retire, but I think he just goes a little overboard with that. Speaking of which, yeah, I was kind of happy. Unfortunately, they're not showing. I was mentioning about Godzilla. Now, I wasn't sure about this, and it was kind of shocking because, like, Godzilla has that one theme song that kind of lasted through pretty much the lifetime or lifespan so far of Godzilla. And I was telling my friend Matt, if he stops by, hey, this is what you almost got to do. You're going to make some type of theme that, if you want to get into being a composer, this would be kind of theme you would want to do, because Godzilla came out, and I looked it up. Now I'm trying to look for the date again. I think it happened in 1954. Yeah, here we go. The first film was actually produced in that started the whole thing of Godzilla films. 1954, and the very last one was made this year at some point in time, 2016. So that was like almost like 60 years of Godzilla. And the one thing that kind of like sticks in your mind when you think about the movies, and I hate to tell you, it's not that horrible song by Blue Oyster Cult. It's actually the theme that I don't know. It's just called the Godzilla theme, but it's not been around for the whole entire 60 years, but it has been around for quite a bit of time. It's a song that I told the friend, I emailed him, I said, listen, this particular theme has outlasted probably, I would think, the themes like from Star Wars and from what else? Jaws, and there was something else, because I can't remember the guy's name. I'm going to say John Williams, but I could be wrong about that. But the composer who did the music for a lot of these films, that the thing that stays in your mind is the theme of certain, music compositions. And the one for Godzilla has actually probably outlasted, if you think about it. Not that it's been around for that long, but it kind of incorporated itself after a few films into this theme that is like lasted until today, at least in the Japanese versions. I got to grab something to drink, folks. I'm going to hear a silence for about a minute. And I wasn't kidding. I actually did leave dead silence. I'm going to try to go. I mean, you think after 3 weeks I have a ton to talk about. And honestly, it's a lot less when I'm not at work, because when I'm not at work, I'm not complaining. And when I'm not complaining, I have really not much to talk about. One thing I can complain about, not that it was bad, my mother actually complained about this, was we went to, for Christmas, Limerick Diner up in is that Limerick Diner? So it would be in Limerick. I was going to say Collegeville. I guess, would that be right too? Also, for our Christmas dinner, that was kind of depressing, because afterwards I actually decided to like come home, and I was going to do a radio show on Christmas, Christmas night, and I decided, like, you know what, I have no energy. I'm just really depressed, and I ended up going to sleep. I was actually trying to watch these Godzilla films, and I end up falling asleep. I was like, you know what, I had enough. I can't watch anymore. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't like them. It's just I just can't take anymore. I'm just like so depressed, and that's not good. I tell you one thing, I did marathon on my week off. It was the best $20 I ever spent. I got to look for information on this now. It was the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I got them on DVD because, you know what? Why waste extra $30 on the Blu-rays when you can buy the DVDs? And they actually, because they're older films. I think they were all in like the 1980s. And I have to put that in now. And believe it or not, they did get upscaled to a higher version. It's not that bad. And I paid $20 for 8 films. The original 8 films, which actually included Freddy versus Jason, which I didn't need to see. I've just seen that lately. Let's see. I think let's see. No, I got a text, Elm Street. I'm going to put series. Actually, the last one I was surprised because they got so campy after a while that I was going to say Robert Englund, but actually, what do you call it, who just passed away, who made these films. He got so embarrassed, Wes Craven, he actually came back and he had to redeem himself. The film's getting a little bit off track the way he initially intended it to be. So there was actually 8 movies. And the first one did come out in 1984. And I hate to say it, but towards the end there, I was just I hate to tell you, but I was laughing my ass off because they were really, really funny. And they're supposed to be horror movies, but they made them so campy, you couldn't help but laugh. Actually, it says that Freddy vs. Jason actually has producers Sean Cunningham, who actually made, obviously Friday the 13th. Yeah, so it started in 1984, and the very last film was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which actually that got a bit campy too. But he tried to get it back more on track, where it was basically what he originally intended it to be, which was a horror film, and not all the camp fest they added to storylines. I'm trying to look. Actually, each film did have a different director, which I kind of like. Let's see. I would say between Nightmare on Elm Street 3 all the way up until Nightmare on Elm Street 9. 3, 4, 5, 6. Those films, 3 to 6, were actually a continuation with the same character. So what is that? That's like 4 films. 3, 4, 5, 6. I got to count them on my fingers. Those particular films actually were a continuation with the same character. It was kind of funny, even though he got a different actress to play. There's one particular girl who actually came in or was introduced in, again, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and then she was there until the very last film, until Wes Craven came back. So there was 4 films where he had nothing. Well, actually, it was more than that he had nothing to do with, because there was. I'm looking at the names. I'm going to mess them up. I'm going to actually use Freddy Krueger's glove on these names of these directors. Wes Craven was in the original one, obviously, but then it was Jack Shoulder, Chuck Russell, Rennie Harlan. These are all directors, by the way. Did I say producers, directors? Stephen Hopkins, which I saw that and was like, it is Hopkins. So Rachel Talalay, and then Wes Craven once again came back. So, yeah, he was actually only did 2 of the first 8 films. And then there was the one called Freddy vs. Jason, which had different writers, obviously. And by the way, the first one and the one that was called Wes Craven's Nightmare in 94, which was the last of the original series with Robert Englund. Well, actually, Robert Englund was in that one Freddy vs. Jason as well. But Wes Craven not only directed, but he also wrote the scripts for those films, which is kind of actually pretty cool. Let's see. But then there was like this box set. You can buy them at Walmart. You can buy it at Best Buy. It's like $20, and it's well worth it, I'll tell you, because at first I only got it just to watch the initial first film, and it was like, hey, it's $20. If I watch the other ones, it's no big deal, but if I watch more than one, it's going to pay itself off after the watching 2 of the films. I end up watching all of the films, which I didn't expect to do. And again, it was like $20. You can buy it the same price everywhere, the DVD. And if you have a Blu-ray player, or what I have, that Xbox One S, the slim model, that has the high definition Blu-ray player, which is 4K. It will definitely upscale to at least 1080p, because I looked at on the resolution. It was like, yeah, it did upscale, and you can tell the difference. And it was like $20 again, as opposed to buying Blu-rays. They're not going to look any better. And it was literally $20. I mean, I saved myself $30. So those I'm going to hold on to, because I actually watched, I don't know if I mentioned, but I finished the series I had watched in addition to that, or beforehand. Why is my phone going off? It's like thinking I hit Siri for some stupid reason. What was that? No. Tales of the Dark Side or something. I think it's called Tales of the Dark Side. Yeah, let me check it, though, because let me move my mic down. Because I actually already forget the name. Tales. And I watched all that. That was actually a very good series, TV series. Because I always thought it was just like a plain, bad TV series. Siders. Wow, I really spelled that wrong. Oh, Tales of the Dark Side. Yeah, I watched that whole entire series, and I thought it was actually pretty damn good. Had different well-known actors in there that you kind of didn't expect to be in there, but they were. So I did that. This is what I did on that I did beforehand, but on my my time off. So it's only been a week, and actually it's gone very fast either way. Hey, this is one thing I'm looking at right now. I think this is just really ridiculous, but the amount of people that are celebrities, which honestly I could give two craps about, who will not perform at a Trump's inauguration, which I find that whole thing pathetic because generally most of these people, I hate to tell you, were probably like, if he would have ran for, if he would have ran as a Democrat, this would have never happened. It's just because he has an R now after his name, he decided to run as a Republican. Doesn't matter what he stands for or what he intends to do. It's just a fact, I hate to tell you, that he's running as a Republican. If he ran as a Democrat and gave the same statements he is now or ideas, I'm sure they would have been taken a lot more seriously and would have had less of a repercussion than it is having now, and I'm really nasty one. So this is going to go on, and I've noticed it, especially with no offense, but I've noticed it with a lot of women, and mainly women, that they're so pissed off because they figured, hey, if we get Hillary in here, we're going to get free birth control that's not going to be taken away. We're going to have the option to have at any point in time, even at the very last month of a pregnancy, we were able to have an abortion. And it's like, well, no offense, that has nothing to do. It does have something to do with the president, but no offense, that's up to your individual county in your state. That has he may have something to say. And that's not his main thing. I even read something I found very appalling. Now even Cher said she will love to blow her brains out if Trump goes through his inauguration. I was like, hey, go right ahead. I loved Cher for years, but this is just, it's getting so out of hand, folks. And I heard Rush say this a million times before he is now on vacation until next year, which is only a week away. It's like January 9th he comes back. He basically said that, day in and day out, he says how many of these people, and these are professionals, not just celebrities. I mean, because they're not professionals, they're professional babies or professional actors. But, professionals, people who run higher positions, office positions in our government, who act like overgrown children. And I hear this stuff, and it's like, this is really sad, but at the same time, it's like what I experience at a very local and low level, close to, literally close to home. The animosity and the childish behavior I see on a daily basis is just off the charts. And it's all because people didn't get, from the left, they didn't get what they felt like they deserved, because they always get their way. They have for at least 8 years. And I've mentioned this even to a couple friends, and especially my one friend, Rachel, and she agreed with me. It's like, yeah, if the shoe was on the other foot and we would have lost again another election, they would have told us, to kind of deal with it, and we would have actually. I would have not been happy. But, at the same time, I've had to deal with this stuff in the past, and, I didn't make a big deal out of it. It was just a way, hey, I can't do anything. I can't change people's minds. I was very upset, and it was like, what, in 4 years or 8 years or whatever it would take, eventually I was hoping that we would have a second chance. I honestly thought this that we weren't going to win this time, and that the Republicans, the way I was convinced and brainwashed, that we would never win again. And when we did win, it was like heart-stopping, because, no puns intended, because it actually did happen. I thought the impossible actually physically happened. But yet, now that they did not get their way for one time in a long time, the Democrat side, they are such big crybabies. I've just never seen it to this extent. And like even at where I work, which I haven't been again for over a week, I see it there. I see it when I go out. So that's also what really kind of actually, quite honestly, depresses me to a considerable amount, that I don't even want to leave the house. I just want to sit home and sleep. I'm just waiting for that day that I die, because, or until January 20th comes, whatever. I think it's the 20th. But, when President Trump, or President-elect Trump gets into office, because I'm so tired of these babies taking literally temper tantrums. Like they're taking fits beyond belief. They're not giving up. Like they're just like victimized children, and it's so sickening. Actually, I saw this the other day too, and I've seen it again, that actually Garth Brooks also. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I read this wrong. It says Garth Brooks says he would be honored to perform at Trump's inauguration. I thought I read this the other day, and I misread it, because I thought Garth Brooks, it was one who was against him. Sorry about that. So that's actually promising. At least there's one person who was sticking by his side. I mean, a lot of these people, they just bailed out on him on these celebrities, which are really nobodies, no offense. At the second that he decided that, hey, I'm gonna run for a Republican side. I'm not gonna run as an independent, as I decided I was gonna do, or as a Democrat, which he supported for many years. I'm gonna run as a conservative. And the second that happened, God, everybody just basically had to jump ship with Trump. And it's like, wow, you know what? Go right ahead. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to shoot yourself in the head, I'll give you the gun if I can. But enough already. Grow the fuck up. I'm sorry. So anyway, I didn't mean to go off that long. I saw some interesting stories. I'm looking at one right now on a lighter note. And I tell you, I would actually I'm getting to the point I'm considering on doing this. And it was a story I actually found. I don't think my friend Todd sent it to me, actually, because I remember posting it on my webpage, where it's from the New York Post, because normally I do get articles my friend Todd sends to me from the New York Post. This one I actually posted myself, and it said, very lonely guys spend hundreds to cuddle with me. And it's this woman who started the service, well, basically like me, who is a desperate, lonely guy. I'm not going to deny it. And the other thing, it's just, I look at myself, and not only do I age, it's like no matter how much I try to save my hair from completely falling out, it just seems like it's like not helping. And I think now people just look at me like I got leopard's disease. At least that's the way I feel about myself. And it's really depressing. So I'm at the point now, I would go for this, where this woman, again, her name's Lisa Varsdale or something like that, 27, she's 27 years old. She pays, she has a service where she basically, people spend, again, guys will spend hundreds of dollars just to basically snuggle next to her, to have like some type of human contact. And I mean, that's really depressing. But at the same time, I could see this actually happening, because I'm actually in the same boat. And it says mostly her clients are obviously men between the ages of 40 and 60 who have a hard time finding companionship organically and lack human connection and touch. That's what actually it does say. It says the Petty Burnett explained. So, but it doesn't include having. It's not a what do you call it? a sexual service. What do you call that when you have when you get somebody for having sex with? And I don't want to use the escort service. It's either considered an escort service or basically downright, if they want to be really gritty, they're going to call it a prostitute. But this is neither. The only thing she allows for guys to do is she allows guys to cuddle up to her, and she charges, again, hundreds of dollars to do this. And I'm actually at the point right now, if I had a couple $100 that I would be willing to fork out that wasn't towards, buying video games. Maybe that's why I buy all these. My friend Matt always asks me about this, and it's probably the same reason why I buy dolls or stuffed animals, as he would put it, because it's loneliness. Some people fill their empty void with other things. It may be, because I think my one friend would be for gambling, or for people who have a compulsion with eating, or not even a compulsion. It's just to fill that empty void of having no one there with you. Mine, look, it gets frowned upon, I'll be honest with you, collecting action figures and dolls and stuff. But I think I just do that out of just, the built people around me, or some type of companionship, even if it's like, and I can't pronounce that word correctly, an inanimate object. But actually, I can see this one. I'm going to have to keep this one, or remember it when I see Matt come by and get his opinion. Let's see, because Matt's going to come by and I'm going to get some of this stuff out he won't want to talk about in case it's still going on. But I did mention earlier about this Godzilla marathon, and it's actually on El Rey, I think it's called. It was actually a network that was meant for Comcast, but now it is actually on Verizon Fios as well, which I have. And it gives you, unfortunately, a lot of the films are repeats. Like, they got the actual spelling, which I can't pronounce, for the original Godzilla, and there was Godzilla, King of Monsters, the one with the 300 monsters, and I hate that little baby Godzilla. Those I can't stand, and there were a couple of those on today. Godzilla Raids Again, Godzilla vs. Zero, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla Revenge, Terror of Mega Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Mega Godzilla 2, Godzilla vs. Mothra, Godzilla's Revenge, Rodan. I saw only a handful of these because you can't even get these. Actually, one that was actually pretty damn good was Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Final Wars was another one, Godzilla Final Wars. They put that on more than once. Mothra, there was a couple with the Mothra. SOS again was on it was on for 4 days, by the way. The one I really wanted to see that I've heard about, a Space Godzilla. I actually watched that the other day. I caught like a handful of these. The one actually I really wanted to see was the brand new one that actually it did come out from the Enterprise out in Asia. The brand new one that it's like a red Godzilla, and they kind of explain it, but not really. That just came out this past summer. My friend Matt is calling me. Unfortunately, it's coming up on my... I might have to pause real quick, folks, as I try to call him back, so give me a moment. Okay, hey, this is Walter from iWalter. Yeah, I am back again. That was my friend Matt. I apologize. What was I going to say? Actually, he's going to come over around 9 o'clock. Right now, my time, it's going on 8 o'clock. It's 10 of 8. I don't think I have that much to talk about. Normally, I do, but don't quote me on that, because I have the gift of gab, especially when I don't talk for a couple of weeks. And if I don't catch him tonight, unfortunately, I won't catch him because I want to be away, and then I be back on a normal work schedule. By the way, for people who are Doctor Who fans, I missed it last night. I actually ordered it on iTunes. But I did get I did buy this new Doctor Who episode. There was only one for the whole year this season. Normally there's like 13 episodes, which isn't a heck of a lot, 13, 14 episodes. This year they only made one, and it was a Christmas special. But honestly, it looks, to me, I just don't like the new series that much. I think it's just a little too on the campy side, and I'll watch it. Now, I was really kind of looking forward to, because I had 3 goals to do during my Christmas break. Actually, 4. I think it was 3. One was to go see the new Star Wars Rogue One, which was incredible. I thought it was really good, despite what I heard about person who made the film or something has some issues with Trump, which is like, I'm so sick of it. And I thought that I heard, a friend told me that they incorporated that into the film, and I did not see it, so I'm fine with that then, if that makes any sense. Because I do like Star Wars. And honestly, I thought the Rogue One was like, this was probably the best Star Wars I have seen since the original 3. And that was the reason I liked it so much, because it kind of got back on track. It didn't, go into some type of, I like to consider it a farce. So that was number 1. Number 2 is to go see A Christmas Carol, which I was hesitant because I've been so depressed lately. I haven't been able to get out of bed. I just want to go back to sleep. A Christmas Carol at the Hedgerow. I don't know how you say that. It's around here. It's a playhouse, a very small one. They always have the same actors. The one girl who acts in a lot of his stuff, she's incredibly hot. Well, incredibly cute, to say the least, but she is definitely hot, too. And she's a great actor, on-stage actor. Actually, all these actresses, they're all really good actors that do these plays, and it actually keeps my interest. And it's not that far. It's like 30 minutes from my house, so it's even better yet. So that was number 2. Number 3 was to go see Doctor Who tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and it's like, you know what? I don't even think I can do this. This particular TV episode they're going to show in the movie theaters tomorrow night, this looks so incredibly stupid that I just don't want to. I can't gather, or whatever you want to say. I can't get the nerve up to spend $17 on a freaking ticket, because that's what it's going to cost after everything's said and done. It's like $15, and then there's this surcharge that's going to bring it up to $17 for a TV episode with a bunch of, I hate to tell you, nowadays, I don't know how else to put it, a bunch of morons who have no clue of the original series. They'll go back and watch them, but they weren't there back in the 70s and 80s like I was, actually watching Doctor Who, even though it goes further back. It started in the early 60s. But I kind of was there for that whole thing almost, of watching Doctor Who, and, grew up with this show. I mean, literally, and enjoy and appreciate it, because I remember going to these conventions, back in the day, and how people actually were, we were like a small clique. Even if you didn't know the person, you became part of that clique of people. Nowadays, it's just like that whole new generation of millennials who basically, a clique to them means that you're ostracized no matter how long. I could have been watching Doctor Who, not that it's been all that long, but for like the past 100 years, for say, if it was, and I'd still be ostracized from something, that I grew up with before they were even born, like a lot of these people. So that really just annoys me. Plus, the new shows are just god-awful bad to begin with. So, for the most part, no offense, but that's just my opinion. So that's tomorrow night. That's number 3. And the 4th thing would be going up to, actually, originally I was going to go with my friend Matt. We were supposed to go to New York. And then I found out I could do another podcast, which I haven't done them as much as I used to. I used to do them every day. Now I do them, if I'm lucky, once a week. This one is the first one in 3 weeks. But with friend Ryan, who made a horror movie, and he is up in Wilkes-Barre, and my friend Todd. So I'm going to do a podcast with them, hopefully on New Year's Day. So that's going to be the next one I'll do, is going to be a few days from now. So But yeah, that's what I had my goal. But honestly, and I actually, it was funny tonight. I spent a bunch of money, folks, on some Rogue One magazines. There were collector's items. Supposedly, nothing's a collector's item anymore. But Star Wars seems to be one that actually does seem to what do you call it? Stick around. Like whatever you get, it seems to keep people's interest. So, and plus, I honestly, like I said, I did actually like Force Awakens. I thought that was pretty damn good, but at the same time, I honestly didn't quite like it as much as Rogue One. If I had a choice between last year's Star Wars and this year's Star Wars, I'd have to say that this year's Star Wars, which wasn't an official, it's part of the Star Wars universe, this was so much better. It was like 100 times better, and that's saying a lot. And compared to the prequels that Lucas had made, it was by far even better yet. It was like much, much better. So, I plunked some money. Unfortunately, those magazines, magazines that were dedicated to Star Wars were $12 a pop. It was like, holy crap, that is incredibly expensive. But I really kind of wanted those, so I got those tonight. So I spent some money there. Oh, I forgot about this. I didn't see anything, but did you hear the other day, folks, as I was been off the air for 3 weeks, that that came up on, I got a notice about that Carrie Fisher, it seems like she had a heart attack on the plane at the LAX. Now, the whole thing with that, I even said to my parents when I heard about this, is she put on a lot of weight, and then they forced her for The Force Awakens, when she did that film, they forced her to lose a lot of weight, and at a very fast pace, practically, because the shoot-in schedule and all, they really made her basically starve herself to death. And what that ended up doing, though, was I wouldn't doubt that when you drastically are forced to lose X amount of weight in a short period of time, that it's definitely going to, especially age-wise, she's not old, but she is in her 60s, early 60s, or is 60. It is going to definitely take a toll on your body, no matter what your age is. And I think that's what probably brought it on, of her, having it sounded like cardiac arrest or a heart attack or something like that. So, yeah, that was kind of shocking. That was I forgot all about that until I saw a picture of her. People who lost a lot of weight, and that was her. So, was one of them that, just recently. So, yeah, I just figured I'd kind of slip that in there. But, yeah, like I said, right now, I can't watch it from where I'm standing, but they do have this whole marathon of these Godzilla movies. Actually, I saw another thing, folks. This actually looks really good. Looks kind of disturbing at the same time. Is they actually put up, I think on Christmas, which was yesterday, they put up a new trailer for Alien Covenant, and it says Covenant, and it says Red Band trailer. So the Red Band trailers are the ones that are extremely violent, things that they can't show, that even a simple trailer has to be edited because it's too violent. So, yeah, it's a Red Band trailer. You can find it on YouTube. That's where I found it, but I saw something about that. And the reason I found that, believe it or not, because I found something, had nothing to do with movies or anything, but it had my woman, Margaret Robbie, the girl who played, there we go, Margaret Robbie. She played Harley Quinn in The Suicide Squad, which my friend did bring to my attention, my friend Matt, so thank you so much. He did bring to my attention that they are going to make a Harley Quinn standalone movie. It'll be actually with other characters. Apparently, she was much more liked, and I guess, she was definitely impressionable, Margaret Robbie. And anyway, there was a video I saw, and I did actually laugh. I thought it was hilarious. It's called The Librarian with Margaret Robbie. So I don't know if it's a movie she made or something, but they did some parody on Saturday Night Live, and normally that stuff is horrible on the new Saturday Night Live, but that actually was really freaking funny. It was really, really funny, and she's just plain hot, so it does, and I love hot Australian women, especially blonde ones. I have a big thing on that, and it was the funniest thing I've seen. Again, it's called The Librarian, so I was looking at that, and then it said, oh, we got the Red Band or whatever trailer for the new Alien Covenant, which was originally going to be called Prometheus 2. Then, for some reason, I guess they wanted to catch more of the Alien, because it is, Prometheus was actually a prequel to Alien movies, but they wanted to make sure people knew this, so they actually changed the name and put Alien in the, even though there is more, obviously going to be more aliens in this one than there was in Prometheus, which they were there, but, not as noticeable, I guess, as this one will have. There's going to be another prequel to this. Speaking about prequels, I saw this, folks, the other day, and I kind of wish they would do this, because there was, going back to Star Wars, even though Rogue One, it left me wanting more. That's a good thing, too. It left me wanting a lot more, because the film had, led you up to the last second right before episode, what I consider, not episode 1, what is it, episode 1, 2, 3, episode 4, which was called New Hope, which back in the day when I saw it was called Star Wars. This Rogue One leaves you up to the last bitter second until Star Wars would start. They literally overlap it by a millisecond. So knowing that, there was they even explain from the horrible movies that Lucas did, the prequels, with Anakin being in that lava pit, they actually give a very slim, making you, again, want more, tried to fill in that gap between the very last prequel to this movie of Rogue One, because they show him actually, basically he has established himself, Anakin, as Darth Vader now on that lava planet. Because I saw that, I was like, isn't that the lava planet that Anakin becomes known as Darth Vader? And they did, I seen some article that actually explained, yeah, that's actually what it was. And when they were plotting out the story for Rogue One, that was actually in the mix, where they wanted more. They had a whole, because it came out of a lot of storyboard, a lot of backstory that was written not only for the movie but from other parts of the Star Wars universe about this lava planet. And excuse me, they incorporated very little into the film, but for a purpose, I guess, of time restraints. But it was in the maybe not actually physically filmed, but it was in there in some way in storyline. So they do give you a real, I don't know how to put it, a cock tease or something, where they show him basically getting rehabilitated, Darth Vader, again, like they did in Empire Strikes Back, from the back of his head, being rehabilitated from actually being basically severely burned, beyond belief, when he was basically, his arms and limbs were cindered off. So there's things like that. It would be so cool if they would kind of do a a prequel to that prequel of Rogue One. If they did a prequel to Rogue One, I would actually like to see that with Star Wars and stuff. I don't know why I got on that track. I generally try to keep my shows at an hour either way. So if Matt does stop by after I'm done, I'll explain why I cut it short if it happens. Even though I haven't done a show in 3 weeks. By the way, here's an old picture. Nothing to do with Star Wars, folks. But I saw this and it made me laugh so freaking hard because it's been a long time since I've seen it. And I saw it again, and it caught my attention because there's some chick who's got basically white spandex pants on. She's got a really big butt, and it caught my attention because I'm a thing that my fetish is with women who get pissed off if you look, but who wear workout outfits as everyday everyday lounging clothes. And if you're not the right person, they get pissed off for you to look at them. So I saw this picture of this chick from the back, show her butt. She's got a big butt and more than a bubble butt. And I read this thing and it was you know what? I never even noticed that because my eye went right to this woman's butt, not to the rest of the photo because it's one of these comic photo, not comics. It's a real photo. But it was on Facebook, and I saw this years ago or a while back, and I forgot about it. So it says, yesterday afternoon, I was walking and holding hands with my wife, and I suddenly dropped her hand and grabbed my cell phone to take a picture. She hit me because the wife assumed, obviously, what I was thinking, this guy took a picture of this woman's ass because it's hey, dude, high five. He said his wife hit him in the chest and wouldn't talk to me the rest of the day. And then last night she asked me, how could you, and he said, how could I not take this photo? Because it's not every day you see a dog driving the car. And it's what are you talking about? Let me look at this photo again. And lo and behold, there is the woman who's got, you can, obviously the thing that if you're a guy, your eye's going to go to this woman's ass. And then I looked in the foreground. I think it's the foreground. It was at the background. It's considered the foreground. And lo and behold, there is a picture of a dog. It's all staged. It's not for real. A dog behind the driver's seat of a car driving the car. And it was oh my God. And I started laughing. I'm so easily amused, I know. But I thought that was actually pretty clever at the same time. And I fell for it. I didn't see... until I read the whole thing that what was going on. I thought it was actually pretty good. I know it sounds stupid, folks, but, you're talking to a person who is kind of actually very easily amused. So I'm just letting you know. Okay, let me see what else. Yeah, and I already mentioned it, so I'll mention it again. People just don't give up. It was from USA Public Life. Share, when I watch Trump, I just want to blow my brains out. I swear to God, that's what it says. Then it has this thing. Actually, it shows what Cher put on her Twitter account, and it has a picture or painting of Adolf Hitler next to a painting of Donald Trump's face painted over top of the painting of of Adolf Hitler. In a self-portrait or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, that is just freaking ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go off on that again. But on that line, by the way, another one that's kind of really ridiculous. It was on World Today, News America. No, it says news-america.com, and it says World Today. This man gets 70-year sentence after insulting a black woman judge. A young guy gets 70 years for insulting a black judge. That a female black judge would, so it's a woman too. So you wouldn't hear that happen. The shoe was on the other foot. And I just have to mention this. I think my friend Todd put that up. I can't remember. When you're in a court of law, at least you can, what's it say? You can show respect for the judge. For this defendant, talking back to the judge cost him many, many more years on his sentence after he already was found guilty on several charges. So, again, it was titled, the man's going to get 70 years just for mouthing off, for one, because the judge was a female, and two, because it was a black female judge. So, this whole thing about this notion about political correctness is just, it's just a joke. The whole thing is a freaking joke. He did send me another one. I think I was actually my friend Todd or his brother. This was actually on the Daily News, which is a New York newspaper. Ex-Bronx teacher who lost job after getting pregnant by a student found dead along with a 4-year-old son in a New York apartment. So I haven't read this one yet. I'm actually afraid to read it. A former city school teacher fired in 2012 after after she was impregnated by an 18-year-old student was now found dead in her Harlem apartment Monday along with her 4-year-old son, authorities said. So you can almost imagine this is foul play. And, they say all these don't affect younger kids that have sex with older women, and she's not very attractive at all. But in some ways, this probably, I'm assuming, I haven't read the whole thing, so I can't really say much. But I'm assuming that it probably was the kid who got her pregnant, because the kid's life is over if even though she's the one at the wrong, it's going to be him. And, when reality sets in with this kid, I'm sure it was something to do with the kid who got, even though, again, she's the one supposed to be the responsible adult, who, she doesn't, people don't realize how it does affect younger people. Cops found Felicia Barhona, 36, lying on the living room floor of her apartment on West 153rd Street near Riverside Drive with an electrical cord wrapped around her neck at 8:15 a.m., police had stated. Now, I'd love to say, not to be a total prick, but be as, on this whole situation, as stupid as the media is, or the left, when they want to twist things, and to say, well, maybe the cord accidentally she wrapped around her own neck and she tripped and fell, and that's how she killed herself, and maybe landed on her baby. Make something stupid like that up, like the left would do. It says her son, I can't pronounce the name of that, Miguel or something, believed to be the child she had with the student, was found drowned in a bathtub, sources said. So it was obviously foul play, no doubt about that. The death of the baby is very, very, very sad. And the victim's friend, Barcia Rodriguez, 44, I guess that's their statement. She recalled a little Miguel was very intelligent. Well, if she was so intelligent, why did she get pregnant by a student in high school? She always cared for the baby, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can read this because there's more to this, and I just honestly could care less about the rest. I just love this. I mean, when you got foul play like this, there's obviously a little bit more involved in just a random, this was a deliberate, what do you call it, like a premeditated murder. And I'm sure, again, they don't think very clearly, these teachers, when they screw around with younger kids, that how it's going to, what do you call it, emotionally upset these kids. They think, well, these kids can handle it. They're, excuse me, they're grown adults. Well, no offense, in the kids' mind, they think it's great because they're getting laid or whatever you want to say. But in reality, they're also probably thinking, well, God, my life's over. I got some woman pregnant who's, 3 times my age, twice my age, or 10 years older than me. And when the reality sets in that, they're going to be a father, this is one case, though. I'm sure that, in reality does set in for these kids, like, my life's ruined. And the only way I'm going to get it back is by, basically knocking off. No, I don't know how else to put it. This woman who who ruined my life. I'm not saying this is like how they think. I don't know what they think, but I'm sure it does take a toll on these kids, and they act like it doesn't. Now, when it's a female, and I've gotten to this discussion before, if it's a female and an older male adult is having sex with the female, for some reason, it will tarnish or ruin or hurt their, that female from actually emotionally. It's going to ruin the rest of her life. But when it happens to a young man, a young adult, a teenager, then for some reason, miraculously, it doesn't have the same effects because men are stronger. Yeah, well, they're physically stronger, but mentally, I don't think so. Because I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again because I remember from years ago, they made sure not to. I'm not going to even use the word "not," but they made sure to let you know that women, young girls, teenage girls, mature at a much, much faster rate than men do. So, young men, teenagers. So that gets twisted around when sex comes into play, and when it comes to sexual perversities of some sort. Then all of a sudden, then that whole thing changes. Well, no, women don't mature. Young girls, ladies don't mature as quickly as men do. But beforehand, that's all I ever hear from these from these people, especially from the left, who on a constant basis makes this apparent that this is the actual fact. No, women, young girls, they mature so much faster than men. But then, no, that's not the case. It's just like the reason I'm making such a big deal out of this, folks, to let you know. Because it's like everything else on the left. When it fits their motive, what they want to push, then, it's okay. But when it doesn't fit, they're what they're trying to push for, like women or Black Americans being victimized, when it doesn't fit their, like Trayvon Martin, when it doesn't fit their what they're trying to push for, then all of a sudden everything changes. It's a double standard basically. So, I personally, I just don't understand that. It bothers me obviously a lot, not just a little bit. And I know it's not going to change, but this is why I do this. This is why I pay this money to do these shows, is because, I know it's not going to change anything, but I at least got to get it off my chest. And if it means me talking about it 40 more times, the best I can tell you is just don't listen to it, or, fast forward, because I talk about other things. So anyway, folks, again, this is going to be my last show probably for the year at this point. So that's kind of weird. I mean, the year has gone fast, and actually, in my opinion, it's gone a bit too fast. But I actually got quite a few interviews, quite a few plugs. And my friend Matt came over. I still have things hooked up. I actually got to get him to do a plug for my show as well, because I have never got him to do one for me. So anyway, folks, I'm trying to think. I'm doing a last-minute check and see if there's anything. Oh, wow. My friend Todd did put some stuff in our private little box so on Facebook. So I'm looking at it right now. So this is pretty cool. He just posted this now. Daily News: woman charged with hate crime after stabbing transgender man who offered his train seat in Harlem. So yeah, there's a hate crime with a woman against a transgender man. Manhattan woman stabbed a transgender man who had offered her a seat on the Harlem subway Christmas night after declaring, "I don't want to sit next to to black people," police sources said. So there you go. Here's this political correctness. I'm surprised this actually got posted. Stephanie Pasmano, 30, was riding southbound number 4 train with her cousin by 125th Street and Lexington Avenue at 11:05 p.m. when this Jarrett, 44-year-old who is black, offered to give up his seat. She refused, then told her cousin in Spanish that she didn't want to sit next to a black person, sources said. It says that she struck the man in the arm with a 2-inch knife and slashed his face, police had stated. So there you go. There is this lovely, I'm sure, probably the same person. It's funny. The irony is you got 2 minority groups. You got a woman and a black gentleman who was just trying to be nice and ends up getting a transgender male, and he ends up getting stabbed for his kindness because she does not like black people. So it's just, the whole thing to me is kind of like an irony, if that makes any sense. That, these people on the left, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but I wouldn't doubt it, are so whacked out at this point and have convinced themselves of being so victimized, so pissed off of the outcome that they are literally, at this point, if this is the case, I don't know how else to put it, are imploding on themselves. Like they're literally, they're coming in and destroying themselves. I mean, it's in some way it would be great if they just end up like killing themselves. I would not have a problem with that, actually. Excuse me. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but you know what? At this point, I really don't care because I'm so sick of the way I have to deal with this every single day. That's why I just sit at home. That's why I'm so depressed. My show is it's a little over an hour, not by much. There's another one my friend posted in our private group, so I'm bringing this out to the show just to have a little bit more to talk about, but I'm running out of things after this. Canada says only 28 Americans have applied for Trump-related refugee status. 28 people out of all those Americans who said they were going to flee the country if Trump won. 28 of them actually did do so. And once they find out that Canada has really shitty health care, I guarantee they'll probably be back. So that'll be even more funny. Before the election, plenty of celebrities and average everyday Hillary Clinton voters pledged to pack their bags and take off to Canada if Donald Trump would win. Yeah, and he did. But since the fateful day more than a month ago, Canada's Immigration Service Department has received only 28 requests. And it goes on to say more, but I don't need to go into that discussion. I just think it is, without a doubt, it is actually funny. So it is very funny. That's another thing about the left, which is no shock to me and should be to any right-minded, no puns intended, conservative. But if you haven't noticed that generally the left are basically hypocrites. They say one thing and they obviously do the complete opposite of everything that they stand for. And now, if I'm correct, which I don't know, with this whole subway thing, I wouldn't doubt it though, because there's some, there could be some wacky people. I am one of them who are on the right side, that are, completely nut jobs. But Yeah, so it's to me. I just think the whole thing is. Say the least. I think it's entertaining. What can I say? So you know what? I ran out of stories at this point. But since again I won't see anybody until I'm trying to do something before I head off. So that's why I'm kind of hauling for time, folks. And you know what? This is gonna be the last time for the rest of this year anyway. So, hey, left, keep on being whack jobs as you are. Hopefully by January 20th, there'll be enough of yous that are not around because either A, you did flee the country or you end up killing yourselves, that, we will have a better country. We won't, we'll have less, besides me, myself, and a few of the other, left or right wackos, which don't outnumber, the percentage does not outnumber the normal people as it does on the left. I mean, if you had a scale, one of those scales, like I can't remember what it's called, but a scale where one side would have all the whack jobs on there, and on the other side would be all the normal people. The scale would not tip itself as much to the nutcase side for the right as it would for the left, if that makes any sense. Because there is more nut jobs on the left that I've noticed. You know what? It's like the best way I can kind of visual or make this a visualization is like watching that show The Walking Dead, because that's basically what it is. Like, our country has just been overtaken by not flesh-eating zombies, but just plain idiots that are zombies, like complete freaking morons that just come out of the woodwork because they're all afraid of losing free health care, free housing, free money, free cars, you name it, like everything. And getting birth control for free. Like that's our job to basically take care of all these idiots. So, but they seem like we've had an outbreak of idiots, morons that just like they're like literally the Walking Dead. So anyway, at this point, and for the last 10 or 20 minutes, it's just been me talking in circles. So because of that, I'm going to end my show. And folks, I'm sorry I missed out on Matt. Matt, I'm sorry I missed out on you. But maybe next time. It will only be another half an hour, but I don't think I can stretch out long and actually make it worthwhile. So, folks, thanks again. This is Walter from iWalter. Again, I won't be back, but I will hopefully have a show, if everything works out correctly, on January 1st, and it will be with Ryan Logston and Todd Thomas and myself, and I will be up at Wilkesboro. So I'm just giving you a heads up now. The little bit of the Godzilla marathon is still continuing on. If you have El Rey, that cable station, it depends where you're coming from. As far as a connection to the internet, so to speak, is where you get that channel. But it's got some really good marathons. I would recommend that. So thanks, everyone. This is Walter from iWalter. And thanks for listening to me for another year. And hopefully I'll be back in 2017 and have some new ideas on how to interview some more people. So have a good rest of the year. This is Walter from iWalter, signing off for this year.